Afternoon, evening, ladies and gentlemen, whatever time you're tuning in the program here. This is a special program at FLINTtalkradio.com. I'm George Moss, and we're going to be talking this afternoon for about 30 minutes with Mr. Tom Whitmire, and he is a candidate for the congressional seat now being held by Mr. Dan Kildee.
Correct.
And so we're very glad to have you in the studio, and we're going to be talking here about his campaign and hopefully bringing some enlightenment to you about the aspect of it, which is quite different, because he is bringing a nutritional element to the political arena. So Mr. Whitmire, I want to thank you for coming into the studio, and I'm sure we're going to learn something about your campaign and what you're bringing to the table.
Well, thank you. Aloha to everybody. I'm running for U.S. Representative in the 5th District as a Republican candidate.
We were talking off the air about your campaign, which is nutritionally based, and I was very interested in what you were saying about that. Why don't you tell the listening audience about it?
So I'm running on a platform of nutrition, health, agriculture, and education. So I think we have a real disconnect in this area about what is real food, and we need to start providing solutions to our people and providing them other options. So at Flint Talk Radio, we're in Genesee County. Genesee County is known as the second most unhealthy county in the state of Michigan.
Is that right?
So if we're going to start addressing our problems, I think we need to start there.
Okay. It's like you're saying, if you don't have your health, you don't have anything.
That's correct.
Everything starts with health. Well, how would you say then that would play into the political arena? We mostly think about fiduciary issues like finance and the economy and things like that. I don't think I've ever heard a politician say that we should start at 0.1, which is the nutrition, which I would agree that's a major aspect. If you don't have your health, you don't have anything
Correct.
to work from. So what made you jump into being a nutritionist? What made you jump into the political arena?
The first thing I saw, what got me started is I was like any typical American. I was eating a lot of high fatty foods, a lot of sugar, a lot of chemicals, and I just thought that the stomach area was something I had to fill 3 times a day. I didn't realize that what I ate and what I drank made a difference in how I felt. Then I fell off a mountain bike just on a relaxing little cruise, and I fractured my clavicle, broke into 5 different pieces. And it was that time, after 30 years, it was the first time I actually looked and said, wow, there's chemicals in our food that shouldn't be in here. I'm consuming high fructose corn syrup, I'm consuming aspartame, MSG, high amounts of fats, highly processed sugars. What is going on? So in my investigation led to the food industry, was then got into the political system of why is this being allowed in our food when we can obviously see that the people are the ones that are paying the price for it. Because we have, even in Genesee County, we have a high rate of obesity, we have a high rate of malnutrition even, and we have a high rate of type 2 diabetes.
Okay.
And I think if we're going to start anywhere, we need to address that. And the way we can address that is start educating people about living a healthy lifestyle, and then providing them solutions to that and providing them options.
I see. I think that would be one way of actually interfacing what you're running on your campaign with the healthcare issue, because if you are going to lower the healthcare costs, you've got to do some preventative things. You can't wait till people get sick and then try to intervene where it's more expensive. You can do the preventative things, you can cut down on the costs. That was a thing that happened, that was something that was reported a couple of weeks ago about there being some plastic in the bread put out by Subway. And I was thinking to myself at that time that everything has plastic in it. What do you think you're eating when you hear that little crunch sound? And you can't produce food in the laboratory. Food grows, there are 5 things about food. It grows, crawls, runs, swims, or flies. And if it doesn't do any of those things, then it's not food, it's plastic.
So we're feeding our kids highly processed, pre-packaged foods, and we're doing that in our schools. So if we're going to start anywhere, we need to start educating our young people in our schools, and then we need to start getting real food into the schools. So right now, Michigan has gone away from growing a lot of agricultural products that we can feed to our kids. We used to grow a lot of asparagus, a lot of celery, still have the ability to grow a lot of apples, blueberries, as we know, cherries, high amounts of crops that we can grow in our fields. What we need to start doing is allowing those foods to get into our schools. And there's a lot of legislation that's blocking that ability.
Okay.
So we don't need to legislate against other corporations having their products, but we need to educate people about there is another alternative, and then allow those products to get into our schools and our institutions.
I see. Well, how would that differ from what Michelle Obama's doing?
Michelle Obama has a big fitness craze. It's not all about fitness, about activating your body. It's actually, a lot of it's providing your body with nutrients, and then actually allowing your body to detox chemicals. So what we have right now is we have kids that are showing up at school. They're being provided this highly processed meal. They're only allowing about $1.52 to go to the lunches. So the kids are taking in chemicals, and they may be allergic to the gluten, they may be allergic to dairy, they may be allergic to the GMOs, the stuff that their body's not used to. Then they go to class, and they have this disconnect, and they have this fogginess, and they're not able to respond because they have a lot of chemicals in their body.
Wow.
What's happening to our kids at this point is that they're being diagnosed as having a learning disability, they're having a label put onto them, and they're being sent to a doctor. And a lot of times the quickest solution is to give them a pharmaceutical medication, as opposed to saying, well, maybe you need a little asparagus here and a little avocado there. They're saying you need this chemical, and you may be on it for the rest of your life. And what's happening with the people in all ages, especially in our area from the research, is that they're losing their passion for life. So they're kind of been put on this drug. They used to be good at the cello, the piano, mathematics, science. They used to have this passion. All of a sudden they're losing their passion. They're starting to drop through and fall through the cracks. So what happens is we don't have a highly skilled workforce that's ready to work because they're very unhealthy.
So this